In this series, my goal is to visit a location and capture just one photo that I'm truly happy with after editing. I take you through the entire process, from arriving at the scene to post-processing the final image. My hope is that this journey not only offers you useful tips and insights, but also helps me grow and learn through the experience. Why am I doing this? I think there are 3 easy things we can do to improve our photography. First of all, I think repetition is really important. Going back to the same location, shooting the same subject can really help improving our photography. The second one is the importance of experimenting. For example, using different focal lengths, shooting from different angle of view, shooting at different times of the day or in different lighting conditions, or maybe introducing artificial lightings. These can improve also quite significantly our photography. And the third one is that we can set up some challenges, projects for ourselves. For example, restricting ourselves only to one focal length, taking only one photo or a couple of photos during a day out, or shooting only in black and white. We are forced to slow down and think harder and consider before pushing that shutter button. And this is what I'm exactly going to do today by taking only one photo. I came to an area which I know really well. This is the location where I usually photograph the orchids. And there are a lot of white flowers around here, a lot of thistle and other type of flowers. And I saw many butterflies and bees flying around, feeding on these flowers. So I think I have a high chance to capture one photo of one butterfly for today. Just to increase the difficulty of this challenge a bit, I brought only one lens with me, which is the Tamron 90mm macro lens. So I don't have telephoto lens, which I really like to use for macro shots. I have to deal with the 90mm focal length. As you can see, there are quite many different butterflies can be found here in this small area. I don't think I can see either the marbled one or the small blue butterfly, but probably I can see some common blue, maybe brown ergus. I don't know. I'm not really a butterfly expert, but I try my best. I think the best possible times to photograph butterflies are the mornings after sunset, when they are still cold and they are not warmed up to be able to fly, or just before sunset, half an hour before sunset, when they try to find a resting place for the night. And because I'm here for the sunset, that's what I'm going to do. I still have about 2 hours before I can start chasing the butterflies. So I'm gonna have an apple, and while I'm eating the apple, I'm gonna walk around the area with open eyes, and I try to spot some butterflies and try to spot the areas they are attracted to. I have finished my apple, and the good news, I saw some butterflies too. Especially in this long grass, I saw some small brown ones flying around. They were flying quite fast at the moment, but as the sunset approaching, they're going to slow down and hopefully they're going to try to find a resting place, which can be one of these small grass seeds. Okay, it seems like it is happening earlier than I thought. It's only 7 o'clock and I expected to start the butterflies to find their resting places around 8 p.m. But now, just over there in the grass, I can see a common blue butterfly and it's not moving at all. It already settled there for the night. So I'm trying to get closer and frame up a composition and see if I can push the shutter button. Let me explain the settings. I'm probably going to use about 1/50th, 1/60th of a second as a shutter speed and f8 as an aperture. I'm in manual mode and let the ISO do its stuff automatically. So I think it's going to be a vertical composition, and I switched on my 5:4 frame line to frame up the butterfly in the grass. So let's see if I can get close and I can take a shot, or is it worth to take a shot at all? This was almost good. Unfortunately, there was one blade of grass which was coming diagonally. It was too close to the subject and it ruined the bokeh. So maybe later I'm going to return, but I'm going to carry on looking for butterflies. It's not an easy task to spot butterflies, especially common blues, in this tall grass. Actually, they are the size of my fingernail and they can hide really well in this tall grass. But fingers crossed, I already found one, so I'm gonna find more. I'm quite confident. I eventually come back to this butterfly here because this is resting in a very nice place. So I ended up raising the aperture or closing down the aperture to f11 because that gives me a little bit more depth of field, which helps to have all the details in the photo. So that was me on the location. Only one thing left to process the image at home in front of the computer. See you there. Okay, there is one more thing left. I have to pick this blackberry because that looks delicious. I'm at home now and I have to admit I didn't just take one photo. Because I was doing macro photography and the wind was blowing, I was afraid that the subject is not going to be sharp enough. So I took a couple of photos, 6 altogether, and now I'm going to select one which I think was the sharpest of the 6. So here are the 6 photos I took in Lightroom, and let's have a look at them first and select one which is the sharpest of the 6. So let's have a look at the first one. I remembered when I look at them on location that the first 2 was not really sharp, so you can see they're not really sharp. So the second one also not good enough. What about the third? Oh, this one looks perfect. Right, just quickly let's check the other 4. This is also good, but the eye is not really in focus, so I don't like this one that much. This one is really nice. And the last one I took at f11, and yeah, it's perfectly sharp. So let's just remove these photos which I don't need. This first, the second one, and the fourth one. Okay, so what about these 3? I'm gonna look at them in full resolution. So this one, and this one. To be honest, I prefer the first photo because it has these bright kind of dreamy looking highlight area. I was shooting away from the sun, and because it was only 7 p.m. in the evening, there was no really orangey hues here coming from the sun. But still, I prefer this one, so I think we're gonna work on this photo. And let's start that. So if I look at this photo, the first thing I notice is that the subject is a little bit dark. So first we're going to work on the subject. We're gonna create a mask which select the subject. What I think is going to select, it's going to be the butterfly and the grass. And yes, it did that. But we don't really need the grass here, so we're gonna intersect this mask with a brush, and we're gonna brush it over, just over the butterfly, like so, right? A little bit from the grass is also selected, but I don't care about that. So let's raise the exposure a little bit over here, just a tad bit, like 0.3. And if I show you how it looks like, so you can see how much difference it made. I also like to have this area a little bit more saturated, so I'm going to raise a little bit the saturation, just a tad bit, like 15, 20, let's say 20. And I also want to highlight the texture on the butterfly a little bit, so I'm going to raise the texture just again a tad bit. No, that's too much, like so. That looks good now. So mostly we took care of the butterfly now. So the next one's going to be the background, because I like to have the background a little bit warmer here. So I'm going to create another mask, which is going to be the background. Right, so really nicely selected. A little bit of the grass is also included, but that doesn't really matter. So let's raise the temperature of here in this area. Right, like so. Also a little bit the saturation. Like so. And what I like to do here, I like to have a little bit more detail in the background, because it was shot at f8, so background is still blurred quite a bit. So what I can do there, I can raise the clarity a little bit, just like that, like +20, which gives a little bit more detail in the shadows for me. So that looks nice. So if I switch off this mask, so let's look at it, what we did. So look how much it has changed. So that's good. So what's gonna be the next one? I think I need to take care of the highlights at the top of the image. But first, let's crop this image to the kind of desired ratio. I said during the video that I wanted to do 4:5 ratio, but I think if I select 4:5 ratio, it's gonna be a little bit crammed. So I think I would rather, let's go back to the original one, I would rather go for a 3:4 ratio, like so. Yeah, that looks good. So 3:4 vertical ratio. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to change from the Adobe color to landscape color, which is also giving a little bit more punch to the saturation. Look how much nicer it looks at the moment now. So that's good. So what we want to do now, we want to take care of this highlight area up at the top of the image. So I'm going to create another mask, a linear gradient mask. Right. Let's put it down all the way down to the tip of the wings of the butterfly. So that looks good. And what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna reduce the white significantly in this area because I don't want the eyes drawn to this part of the image too much. So like so. Obviously that introduced a little bit of darkness around this area, which I don't like, but we're gonna take care of this a little bit later. That looks good. And now we're gonna add another mask. That's gonna be a radial gradient. So around this area, like so, nice big one. Put the center of the area where the white bits are at the top of the image. That makes a little bit bigger, like so. And now we're gonna make this area glow a little bit more, which gives this dreamy, hazy look. And I really prefer that look. So we're gonna do that. How can we do that? So in this mask, we're gonna increase the temperature just to have more of these orangey yellowy area. I'm gonna do it quite drastically, like 90-95. Obviously you can still see these dark areas, but that's gonna disappear soon. So also what we want to do, we're gonna further reduce the highlight, like so. So now this area, the highlights are reduced, so the eyes are not drawn to this area that much. But we introduce more darkness. So we can make it disappear by using the magic dehaze slider. And look what's happened. So we're gonna pull it back to like 65, minus 65. And look what happened. It really, really looks nice now. We have this nice glowy type of light here. But obviously it became a bit more brighter. So there is only one thing left now. I'm gonna add another mask and add the vignette. How I add the vignette is usually a radial gradient. So I'm gonna just reduce the image size, or unzoom it, sorry, not reducing. And we're gonna add another radial gradient, a nice big one, like so, and put it down somewhere just below the butterfly, the subject, which is gonna have an effect more here. And we have to invert this mask. And look what it's gonna do. So we're gonna put like the exposure around half a stop. So now that looks really, really nice now. Okay, let's go back to normal size. That looks really nice. I really like it. So the next step is we try to sharpen the image. Because it was shot at ISO 800, so we have a lot of unnecessary noise in the background. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull down the radius completely, and with pushing the Alt button on Windows, we're gonna raise the masking quite significantly, around up to, yeah, 80 looks good. So now you can see that nothing in the background is sharpened, only the details on the butterfly and on the subject on the grass. So, and now we can crank up the sharpening up to, let's say, around 100-ish. We don't want to overdo it. There are those nice details can be seen now here on the butterfly. But we still have some noise here. So the last things I'm going to do here, I try to apply the AI denoise function, which is this little tick box here. Let's see what it does. It takes a while now, but my experience, it does really, really good job now. And I expect the noise reduced significantly. And yes, it looks really, really nice. Look how nicely it cleaned up all the noise in the background, and every detail just looks amazing now. So let's go back to full size, and maybe I'm gonna reduce a little bit the highlight on the image, like so, just to reduce a little bit the glowing effect of the highlights at the top of the image. So this is the final image, and I really like it now. So all I'm gonna do now is gonna export it, and I'm gonna show it to you. I hope you have found some useful information in today's video, and if you did, then please don't forget to leave a like down below. And if you like the content on my channel, then please don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next adventure, and may the light be with you all.